Earth was once a planet that no one took seriously. It was known to many as a death world, a place where the dangers were so extreme that no intelligent species in the galaxy would dare to set foot. The atmosphere, the wildlife, the hostile environment, it all made Earth a place to be avoided. But that was before the Galactic Council, the governing body of countless alien species, started noticing strange things happening on the planet. For years, Earth's gravitational field had remained steady. But recently, something was off. A series of strange pulses, like invisible shockwaves, started disturbing the galaxy's peaceful balance. The sky itself seemed to tremble with a force that shouldn't have been there. Star systems nearby began to report odd gravitational anomalies, too much for a planet like Earth to handle on its own. The Galactic Council, always quick to intervene, assumed this was nothing more than a natural disaster. Maybe Earth was facing some kind of solar storm or tectonic shift, nothing to be too worried about. After all, Earth wasn't exactly a significant player in the galactic community. It was a world still crawling through its primitive stages of technology, with only the faintest whispers of space exploration. But the Council couldn't have been more wrong. The truth was much more dangerous than they realized. As the Council sent a fleet of their most advanced warships to investigate Earth's unusual gravitational activity, something was quietly unfolding beneath the surface of the planet. Deep within secret underground bunkers, hidden away from prying alien eyes, human scientists were working around the clock. They were preparing for a test that could change everything. For years, humanity had been on the verge of a breakthrough. They had secretly developed a revolutionary new technology, a gravity drive, a device capable of bending and manipulating gravity itself. This was the key to humanity's survival and escape from their death world. If the test succeeded, humanity would be able to break free from Earth's crushing gravity, launching themselves into space with a power they'd never had before. But the timing couldn't have been worse. As alien warships from the Galactic Council neared Earth's orbit, the pressure on Earth's surface was mounting. The clock was ticking. Would the humans succeed in using their new technology in time to avoid a confrontation with the Council? Would they be able to escape the deadly pull of their planet's gravity before the alien forces arrived? Inside the hidden underground facility, chaos and excitement swirled together. The engineers were pushing buttons, checking controls, and running diagnostics faster than ever. The Liberator, the most advanced starship ever designed by humanity, stood ready for launch. Its sleek hull gleamed under the artificial lights, and its engines hummed with raw power, waiting to break free from Earth's grip. The tension was unbearable. If the humans failed, the Galactic Council would surely come to destroy them, considering their technology far too dangerous. But if they succeeded, they would be able to escape Earth's deadly atmosphere and face the Council on their own terms. Unbeknownst to the Council, their own fleet was about to stumble into something far more complex than they could ever imagine. A high-ranking officer aboard one of the warships intercepted a strange signal just as they entered Earth's orbit. The message was faint, but it carried the unmistakable signature of advanced technology. The officer narrowed his eyes as the message began to take shape, realizing what he was seeing, a massive human spaceport hidden deep beneath the surface of Earth. The humans weren't just hiding from the Council, they were preparing for war. The signal sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. This wasn't just a natural disaster. This was a deliberate, well-planned effort by humanity to escape Earth. The Council had completely underestimated Earth's inhabitants, thinking of them as primitive and weak. Now, they were facing a species with the potential to escape their death world and take on forces far more advanced than they had ever imagined. The Council's commander, in a mixture of shock and disbelief, ordered the fleet to prepare for direct action. This wasn't just an investigation anymore, it was a mission to stop humanity from escaping and threatening the established order of the galaxy. As the alien ships moved closer to Earth, the tension reached a fever pitch. On the ground, human scientists and soldiers held their breath, watching the countdown to the Liberator's launch. They knew that success meant freedom, but failure meant extinction. Everything depended on the next few minutes. Would the gravity drive work? Could humanity truly escape their death world before the alien forces reached them? As the engines of the Liberator roared to life, the first sparks of hope ignited. The countdown clock ticked down to 0. As the alien warships closed in on Earth, humanity's situation grew more dire with each passing second. The Galactic Council had underestimated the planet, but now the stakes were higher than ever. The advanced alien fleet, equipped with AI, cloaking devices, and robotic soldiers, was far beyond anything humanity had ever seen. They had the best technology, the largest forces, and the experience of thousands of years of galactic dominance. Humanity, on the other hand, had nothing but sheer determination and the will to survive. Inside the massive underground launch facility, tension gripped everyone. The scientists and engineers who had worked tirelessly to create a solution to Earth's deadly gravity knew that this was their last chance. The gravity drive, their most ambitious invention, was the key to their survival. It was a propulsion system unlike anything ever seen before, one that could bend gravity itself, allowing ships to escape Earth's crushing pull. But there was a problem: it was untested. It was risky. And worst of all, it could fail at any moment. Despite the looming threat of the Galactic Council's fleet, humanity had no other choice. The Liberator, their most advanced starship, was ready to launch. It was their only hope. The underground facility was alive with activity as engineers and soldiers scrambled to make final preparations. The walls buzzed with the hum of advanced technology, the air thick with a sense of urgency. Every eye was on the control center, where the final countdown had begun. 10 minutes to launch. Outside, the sky above Earth began to darken as the alien warships entered orbit. Each ship was a technological marvel, bristling with weapons and defensive systems. Their cloaking devices made them nearly invisible, allowing them to appear and disappear at will. Their robotic soldiers, designed for battle, were programmed for efficiency and brutality, trained to wipe out any threats with ruthless precision. But the humans didn't have any of that. What they did have, however, was a heart. A drive, and a desperation to survive. The gravity drive was their only shot. It was a gamble, one that could either save them or doom them all. In the heart of the underground facility, the camera focuses on a group of scientists gathered around a large holographic display. They were the minds behind the gravity drive, and now, they could only hope their years of work would pay off. One scientist, a woman with sharp eyes and a determined expression, stepped forward to explain the system to her fellow engineers. The gravity drive uses quantum manipulation to alter the spacetime continuum, she said, her voice steady but full of anxiety. By adjusting the gravitational field around the ship, we can effectively make the ship lighter than air, allowing it to break free from Earth's gravity. But we're dealing with forces that we don't fully understand. There's no way to predict how it will behave in the field. We're essentially flying blind. A hushed silence fell over the group as the weight of her words settled in. Everyone knew the risks. If the gravity drive failed, the Liberator would be nothing more than a metal coffin, crashing back into the planet's surface at an unimaginable speed. But if it worked, humanity would escape Earth's gravitational prison and have a fighting chance against the Galactic Council. The countdown continued, each second bringing them closer to the unknown. 5 minutes to launch. Meanwhile, soldiers inside the facility made final checks on the Liberator. Their eyes were filled with a mix of fear and hope, but their faces were set with determination. These soldiers were the backbone of humanity's resistance. They knew what was at stake, not just for them, but for the future of their entire species. They had seen firsthand the devastation the Council could bring, and they weren't about to go down without a fight. Outside, the alien fleet continued to advance, each ship like a shadow in the sky. They had detected humanity's signal, the one that had revealed their hidden spaceport. The Council's commander, having learned of humanity's plans, knew that they had to act quickly. If the Liberator launched and the gravity drive worked, it would be too late to stop them. The Council could not afford to let such an advanced ship escape. The tension was unbearable. As the launch time grew nearer, the camera zoomed in on the Liberator, now standing on its launch pad, bathed in artificial light. The ship looked sleek and powerful, but also vulnerable, much like the humans who had built it. 1 minute to launch. The final preparations were complete. The engines of the Liberator roared to life, their hum vibrating through the ground. The air crackled with anticipation, the room vibrating with the energy of the ship's power. Outside, the sky was filled with the shapes of alien warships. The countdown reached its final seconds. And then, with a sharp hiss, the Liberator's engines ignited, sending a wave of force rippling through the underground facility. The ship began to rise, slowly at first, as if testing the limits of the gravity drive. Then, with growing speed, it shot upward, breaking through the surface and into the darkened sky above Earth. The Liberator had escaped. Humanity's last hope had taken flight. The battle was far from over. But for the first time in history, humans were free from Earth's deadly gravity, and they were ready to fight. As the Liberator soared into the sky, Earth's atmosphere ripped apart with its powerful engines. Humanity's desperate escape was underway, but far above them, the Galactic Council had just made a decision that would change everything. In their cold, calculated way, they had debated the options for Earth. Should they destroy the planet immediately, wiping out the human race before they could pose any threat? Or should they watch and wait, observing how far the humans would go as they attempted to escape Earth's deadly gravity? The decision was made. Destroying Earth was too risky, especially with the humans' unexpected technological leap. Instead, they would send one of their most sophisticated warships to monitor the situation. The Council had underestimated Earth's inhabitants before. Now, they needed to ensure that no one could escape their grasp. The warship they sent was unlike any Earth had ever seen. AI-guided weapons, cloaking technology, and a fleet of robotic enforcers made it one of the most advanced ships in the galaxy. It could disappear in the blink of an eye, becoming invisible to the naked eye. It could strike with precision, raining down destruction on any target without ever being seen. The Council believed that this warship, with its advanced weapons and abilities, could stop the Liberator in its tracks before it even had a chance to escape. But humans, though vastly outmatched in technology, were not easily intimidated. The fear was palpable, but so was the determination. Humanity's hope was now locked in the heart of the Liberator, and the only way forward was into the unknown. And then, with a final surge, the Liberator broke through the final layer of Earth's atmosphere and into the vastness of space. It was free, at least for now. The alien warship remained hidden, watching, waiting for its moment to strike. The air was thick with tension as the countdown on the Liberator's display blinked its final seconds. The alien warship, lurking just beyond Earth's atmosphere, had made its intentions clear: it wasn't going to let humanity escape without a fight. As it powered up its weapons, humanity's hopes rested on the shoulders of this single ship. The Liberator, battered but alive, was humanity's last chance at survival. With the final seconds ticking away, Commander Brock gave the order. Initiate launch sequence. His voice was steady, but beneath it, a trace of anxiety trembled. This was a gamble, one that could cost them everything. The Liberator's engines roared to life, their massive thrusters pushing the ship into the sky. But just as it began to break free from Earth's gravitational hold, the alien warship made its move. A blinding flash of light erupted from the alien ship as it fired its first wave of laser blasts. The Liberator jerked violently as the shots tore through the air. The crew inside the ship braced themselves, every second feeling like an eternity. The Liberator, struggling to stay in one piece, narrowly dodged the first volley of laser fire, the powerful beams flashing past their hull. Sparks flew inside the ship, and the shaking sent crew members tumbling. The air was filled with alarms and flashing red lights. But Commander Brock didn't falter. He knew that the only way to escape was to push the Liberator beyond its limits. Full throttle, he shouted. The Liberator accelerated, its gravity drive thrusters flaring up, pushing the ship faster than anything Earth had ever built. The ship lurched forward, twisting and turning as it desperately attempted to break free from Earth's atmosphere. "We're not out yet," one of the engineers shouted as the ship shuddered under the strain. The alien warship, relentless in its pursuit, opened fire once again. This time, orbital bombardments rained down, massive explosions lighting up the sky. The ground shook as the bombs hit the atmosphere, sending shockwaves across the sky. "Brace for impact," shouted Lieutenant Johnson, holding onto the console as the ship lurched once again. The Liberator tilted sharply to the side, narrowly avoiding another wave of laser fire. With a sudden, heart-stopping turn, the ship swerved just in time to dodge a missile fired from the alien ship. The explosion rocked the air as the missile missed by inches, its blast wave pushing the Liberator off course. The ship groaned under the pressure as sparks flew from several damaged sections of the ship. Crew members scrambled to stabilize the controls, their faces pale with fear, but determination kept them going. The ship had to survive, there was no other option. Inside the Liberator, the crew was battered and bruised. The gravity drive was pushing the ship to its maximum, but the systems were failing. Sparks flew from damaged consoles, and the AI system, strained under the pressure, began to malfunction. The Liberator's control systems flickered, and a warning signal blared, telling the crew that several critical systems were on the verge of failure. "We're losing power to the shields," yelled one of the engineers. The shields, once the Liberator's main defense, were starting to collapse. The alien warship, sensing this weakness, fired another volley of lasers, this time aimed directly at the Liberator's vulnerable engines. The ship shuddered violently as one of the lasers grazed the hull, tearing off a large section of the ship's outer plating. Inside, the crew scrambled to contain the damage. "We need to stay in the fight," Commander Brock yelled as he fought to keep the ship on course. He could feel the weight of humanity's future resting on his shoulders. "We can't afford to slow down." The battle raged on above Earth. The Liberator was outmatched in every way. The alien warship's weapons were far more advanced. Its AI systems calculated every move the Liberator made, and its missiles were nearly impossible to outrun. Yet, humanity's ingenuity and bravery kept them in the fight. With each narrow escape, with each near-death experience, the crew of the Liberator held on, refusing to give up. Despite the ship's struggles, humanity wasn't going to let their fate be decided by an alien force. "We're going to make it," Commander Brock muttered under his breath as he saw the Liberator break through a field of debris caused by an earlier explosion. With the gravity drive pushing the ship to unimaginable speeds, the Liberator started to gain distance from the alien ship. But the warship was relentless, and it wouldn't stop until it had destroyed their only hope. In the control room, the crew fought against time and failure. Each explosion, each burst of energy from the alien warship, brought them closer to the edge. "Hold on," one of the crew members cried as the ship rattled once again. The Liberator was barely holding together, but its crew wasn't giving up. As the ship plunged deeper into space, the battle between humanity and the alien warship reached its peak. The Liberator had been pushed to its breaking point, and the odds were against them. But in the heart of the Liberator, the spirit of humanity burned bright. Against all odds, they were going to keep fighting. The battle was far from over, but as the Liberator finally broke through the atmosphere, leaving Earth behind, a heavy silence filled the ship's control room. The crew had narrowly escaped the alien warship's relentless assault, but the cost had been immense. Captain Bonner, the heart and soul of their mission, was gravely injured. His determination had carried them through the hardest moments, but now, as the stars stretched before them, his life was slipping away. The Liberator rocked as it entered deep space, its systems barely holding together after the vicious battle. Bonner, weak and covered in blood from the injuries he sustained during the escape, gripped the control panel. His breathing was shallow, and he could barely speak, but his eyes still burned with a fire that refused to die. With a strained voice, Bonner spoke his final words to the crew, we have to show them we're not weak. His voice faltered, but the emotion behind his words was clear. This wasn't just a fight for survival, it was a fight to prove that humanity, no matter how outmatched, would never give up. His words carried a weight that would stay with the crew forever. As the Liberator continued its journey, Captain Bonner closed his eyes, his breath slowing until it stopped entirely. The moment was quiet, but the grief was immense. The crew, who had fought so hard to escape Earth's pull, now had to contend with the loss of their leader. Bonner had sacrificed everything for their survival, and now they were left with a deep, painful void. The somber mood didn't last long, though. Commander Brock, who had stood by Bonner's side throughout the escape, gathered the crew for a moment of remembrance. He gave us everything. We honor his sacrifice by staying strong. We don't let his death be in vain. We keep moving forward. His voice was filled with determination, but there was a trace of grief too. It was clear that Bonner's sacrifice had left a deep emotional mark on everyone aboard the Liberator. The crew rallied together, their grief transforming into resolve. As they turned their attention back to the mission, a new urgency filled the air. The escape wasn't over yet, and the Galactic Council's alien forces weren't far behind. The Liberator needed to make it to a safe zone, but it wasn't just a matter of outrunning their enemies anymore, it was a matter of honoring Bonner's legacy and showing the universe that humanity would never bow to anyone. Just as they thought they had a moment to catch their breath, the Liberator suddenly shook, and alarms blared throughout the ship. A series of alien ships appeared on the scanner. This time, it wasn't just missiles and laser blasts, the aliens had launched a boarding party. The air in the Liberator grew tense as soldiers prepared for the worst. The alien boarding party, a group of robotic soldiers equipped with advanced technology, quickly infiltrated the ship. The ship's hull trembled as they breached the outer defenses, sending tremors through the corridors. The crew had no choice but to fight back. The Liberator's soldiers, armed with the ship's weapons, rushed to the main deck, ready to defend their ship at all costs. Close-quarters combat erupted as the robotic invaders stormed the hallways. The alien machines were strong and technologically superior, their laser claws and shielding systems giving them a massive advantage. But humanity had something they couldn't calculate: guile, teamwork, and sheer willpower. The humans, fighting side by side, used their environment to their advantage. They set traps, outsmarted the robots, and took down their invaders one by one. In a narrow hallway, Private Turner and Sergeant Williams fought fiercely, using makeshift weapons to disable the robotic invaders. Turner ducked as a laser blast passed inches above his head, and then he charged, throwing a grenade at the robot's control panel. The explosion sent the machine flying, and Turner's heart raced with adrenaline. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Johnson and Corporal Hayes held off a group of robots near the ship's core. They used every advantage they could find, tossing equipment to create barricades and launching fire suppression systems to douse the robots' targeting systems. The machines fought back with brutal efficiency, but the humans' determination and resourcefulness were unmatched. The emotional weight of Bonner's death hung over them all, pushing them forward even when the odds seemed impossible. Each time they were knocked back, they rose again, remembering their fallen captain's words, "We have to show them we're not weak." In the Liberator's final hallways, the battle reached a fever pitch. With every fallen robot, the humans felt a little closer to victory. It wasn't just about surviving anymore, it was about showing that humanity could fight back, no matter the odds. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last of the robotic invaders was disabled. The Liberator's crew stood amidst the wreckage, covered in sweat and blood, but victorious. The ship had been saved, but their journey was far from over. The emotional toll of Bonner's sacrifice lingered, but his spirit had fueled their victory. The crew knew they had to continue the fight, not just for survival, but for humanity's pride. As the Liberator sailed deeper into space, they knew one thing for sure: no matter how advanced their enemies were, humanity's greatest weapon would always be its heart. As the Liberator surged through the void of space, the crew felt the weight of their victory beginning to settle in. They had escaped the grasp of the Galactic Council's forces, survived impossible odds, and fought back with everything they had. But their final blow was yet to come. The humans were about to show the Galactic Council just how wrong they were about humanity's strength. In the cold vastness of space, with the alien warship still in pursuit, the Liberator was ready to strike its final blow. The crew had been preparing for this moment since the escape began. The gravity tech had already pushed the ship past the point of no return, but now, humanity was going to deliver something the Galactic Council had never anticipated, an EMP pulse that could turn the tide in their favor. The Liberator's systems hummed as the crew activated the EMP, electromagnetic pulse. The ship shuddered slightly as the pulse was released, a silent wave of energy that spread out like ripples across the cosmic ocean. The alien warship, which had been lurking just beyond visual range, cloaked and silent, suddenly flickered into view. The cloak's power was destroyed in an instant, its advanced stealth technology rendered useless. The EMP didn't stop there. It surged through the alien warship's communication systems, crippling the ability of the Galactic Council's fleet to relay orders or coordinate their movements. The warship, once a terrifying force of destruction, was now a sitting duck in the cold void of space. Without their cloaking device or communications, the Council's ship was powerless against the humans' final push. Inside the Liberator, the crew let out a collective cheer. For the first time since their escape, they allowed themselves a brief moment of celebration. But there was no time to waste. The Galactic Council was still a looming threat, and the Liberator was not out of danger yet. They had made their move, but the war was far from over. The alien warship, now vulnerable, was forced to retreat. The Liberator's pulse had disrupted their technology, leaving the Galactic Council's forces unable to pursue any longer. The humans had done it. They had outsmarted their technologically superior enemies and struck back with their own innovation. With the Council's warship retreating, the Liberator's crew wasted no time in sending a broadcast, a message that would echo across the stars. The crew, their faces hardened from the battle, gathered in the control room. Commander Brock, his voice steady, spoke the words that would define humanity's stance in the galaxy. "You underestimated us. We are not your prey. We will not be silenced." The message was broadcast to the Galactic Council and beyond, the words reverberating through the vacuum of space. It wasn't just a message of survival, it was a declaration. Humanity was no longer just a species trying to escape destruction. Humanity had declared itself a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Council's reaction was swift but unsure. The Council's AI, an advanced intelligence designed to predict and control, immediately went to work analyzing the threat that humanity posed. But for the first time, the AI couldn't find a predictable solution. It couldn't calculate the humans' next move. The EMP was something the Council's vast intelligence networks hadn't accounted for. Humanity had done the unthinkable, using raw ingenuity instead of relying on technology alone. The AI couldn't fathom a species that could defy its calculations, that could adapt and surprise in ways beyond its scope. As the message from Commander Brock was broadcast throughout the galaxy, the Galactic Council knew something had shifted. The humans, in their desperation and ingenuity, had revealed that they weren't a simple, weak species. They were unpredictable, relentless, and far from finished. The Council couldn't afford to underestimate them any longer. The Galactic Council's response was immediate. A hasty meeting of the highest-ranking officials was called, but even they were in shock. For the first time in centuries, the Council's plan had been derailed. Their carefully constructed view of humanity as a primitive species had crumbled, replaced with uncertainty. They had never anticipated humans would have the capacity to strike back so effectively, and now they had to recalibrate their entire strategy. Meanwhile, aboard the Liberator, the crew had no time to savor their victory. They knew that their battle against the Galactic Council had only just begun. The EMP had temporarily disabled their enemies, but humanity's real challenge was still ahead. The Council would likely retaliate, and the Liberator's crew understood that they had to stay vigilant, prepared for the next wave. However, this victory, no matter how fleeting, had given humanity something priceless: hope. Against the backdrop of a galaxy that had once viewed them as nothing more than a primitive species, the humans had now made their mark. They had proven that they would not be silenced. They had shown that, in the face of impossible odds, they were capable of innovating, surviving, and winning. The Galactic Council may have been shocked, but humanity had only just begun to fight. In this part, humanity delivers its final blow to the Galactic Council, using innovation to disable the alien warship's technology. The EMP pulse is a game-changing moment that forces the enemy to retreat, marking a turning point in the war. The broadcast sent to the Galactic Council solidifies humanity's strength and determination, setting the stage for an ongoing battle where the humans show they will not be underestimated. The Galactic Council's shock and confusion signal a new era, where humanity is no longer a mere prey species but a worthy adversary in the galactic power struggle. As the Liberator floated in the vastness of space, its engines humming quietly, the crew gathered on the observation deck. The stars stretched out before them, an endless sea of unknown possibilities. Outside, the solar system was slowly fading into the distance as they ventured farther into the unknown. Humanity had done the impossible, surviving the Galactic Council's attack, defying their expectations, and forcing them to retreat. But even with this victory, the battle was far from over. The crew stood together, the weight of their past struggles still fresh in their minds, but their eyes focused on what lay ahead. They had seen their captain, Bonner, make the ultimate sacrifice, and they had felt the sting of loss. But his final words echoed in their hearts: "We have to show them we're not weak." It was a promise, a vow to keep fighting, no matter the cost. Now, as the Liberator began its journey beyond the solar system, the crew couldn't help but feel the weight of what they had accomplished. They were no longer a weak, isolated species, barely holding on to their place in the universe. They had proven their strength, and more importantly, their will to survive. The Galactic Council had underestimated them, and now humanity was about to make its mark on the galaxy. But this was only the beginning of a much larger battle. Commander Brock stood at the front of the group, looking out at the stars. His face was worn from the months of fighting, but there was a new sense of purpose in his eyes. He had led them through the worst, and now he was preparing them for what was to come. "All systems are green," the ship's engineer reported. "We're ready for our first mission beyond the solar system, sir." Brock nodded. The Liberator was not just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's defiance. It carried their hopes, their dreams, and their determination to show the galaxy that Earth would no longer be a victim. As the crew stood in silence, watching the stars, a faint blip appeared on the radar. It was an alien ship, small but unmistakably alien. It was retreating from their position, but it was not alone. More ships appeared in the distance, speeding toward the edge of the solar system. These ships weren't attacking, they were retreating. The Galactic Council had seen enough. They had failed to stop humanity, and now they had to send a message back to their masters. The ships had been sent to warn the Council, to tell them that humanity was not the weak, primitive species they had assumed. Humanity had done the impossible, and the Council had felt the sting of their underestimation. "Looks like they're sending word back," one of the crew members said. "They're retreating to warn their masters." Brock turned to face his crew, his expression serious. "We've shown them that we're not easy prey. But this is just the beginning. We're going to have to fight harder than ever before." The crew nodded in agreement. They had faced impossible odds, but they had made it this far. The Liberator was more than just a ship, it was humanity's hope. And now, they were about to venture into uncharted space, ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store for them. As the alien ships disappeared into the distance, the crew of the Liberator knew that the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. Humanity was no longer just a weak species on the fringes of the universe. They had made their presence known, and now they were about to stake their claim on the stars. The Galactic Council, once confident in their control over the galaxy, now had to reckon with the reality that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. No longer could they treat Earth as a backwater planet to be ignored. Humanity had proven its strength, its ingenuity, and its resilience. And the Council was just beginning to realize the true cost of underestimating Earth's people. "Let's move out," Brock ordered, his voice steady and resolute. The ship's engines roared to life, and the Liberator began its journey into the unknown. The future of the galaxy was now uncertain. The Galactic Council, shaken by humanity's resolve, would have to adapt to this new reality. Earth had proved that it was no longer the weak, vulnerable species they had once thought it to be. Instead, it was a species that had proven it could survive and thrive, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As the Liberator sailed into the darkness of deep space, humanity's destiny was unfolding. The galaxy now awaited their next move, one that would define their place in the cosmos forever.